So a while back, I made a video about how this one Dragon's Dogma modder is undertaking the biggest expansion project for Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen. Since then, Austin has shared a bit more of his massive secret project, and it turns out it's becoming much bigger than initially planned. And while they haven't revealed the full extent of the project just yet, judging by the scale of things he wants included, it looks like it's going to be the size of a proper DLC in terms of content when it's finished. We are talking completely new areas, including familiar worlds from the Dark Souls series, which is absolutely amazing. Imagine going through Dragon Lake with Dragon's Dogma combat. They also have imported assets from other games like Devil May Cry, Ninja Gaiden, and even Frostmourne from World of Warcraft, as well as new mechanics added to endgame areas like the Everfall and Bitter Black Island for an even harder challenge. But that is also where it gets complicated. You see, I've known Austin for over 5 years now. He's probably the most passionate Dogma modder out there, and he really wants to make something great for the community to enjoy. He's also a perfectionist, and that's very evident in his work. His mods always comes out in stellar condition. On top of that, he have gained a wide spectrum of modding skills over the years, trying to figure out everything on his own. Luckily, he have gotten help with some of the tasks that require specific industry knowledge, but he keeps hitting roadblocks on the way in terms of specific tasks or a specific set of skills needed to bypass them. So a while back I told him, "You have done all this work for the community for free. How can we help you now?" And while he was initially reluctant to ask for any help, he finally gave me a list of what he needs for the project to get completed, as well as a description of the roadblocks he is stuck on. So essentially he needs programmers, basically people who know how to read game code, understand how game engines work, and how to make tools for games, as well as people who are good at deciphering different types of files. He needs people who are able to use programs for decompiling and then read something called debug symbols from there, and then actually be able to make use of that information to make things for the game. An old friend of him, Chris Purnell, was really good at this, but he haven't heard from him in some time. Chris, if you by any chance are watching this, then just know that the whole Dogma community is ready to back you up here. He also told me that he needed help with the Nightmare Grancis issue. First of all, Nightmare Grancis sounds badass, and I can't wait to see what kind of monstrosities he have created there. But the problem he's facing here is that the stage is made of pieces, and they aren't saved in place like the other stages. The game somehow tells them where to go. He explains that it would really speed the project along if someone could help determine what tells the game to do this. And if it's a file that he already have included in the copy, why isn't the game reading it? He goes on to describe how he could use help with figuring out what's missing from something he tries to add to the game that causes it to not work properly. This is another thing Chris was good at, being able to pick out things Austin would miss, or tell him things that needed to be included in order for an addition to the game to work in the first place. So it sounds like coding knowledge. For example, at some point he learned how to add totally new armor to the game, but then forgot at least one step to the process and keep running into crashes now. A bigger issue would be the fact that adding totally new stages turned out to have more steps than he initially thought. The new stages he have added made use of blank stages that the game already tries to load by default. Adding a new stage that didn't exist in the files before results in an infinite loading screen. Another thing that would help out the process is people who can at least make basic XML converters for file types so that we can more easily read them. Additionally, another thing, and this is something Chris was supposed to help with, is 3D tools for the game's files. At one point he was talking about making him a tool where he could actually open the game's maps and then drop enemies and environmental objects in place, rather than having to do it with hex or XML. Dragon's Dogma Online does have an enemy placement tool created by Lathe, but sadly it isn't compatible with Dark Arisen. At the very least, having that tool available would make a difference in how fast he can place enemies and maybe even objects if that works with them. Lastly, and this is a big one, the game stores enemy spawns in something called a GPL file, and it typically only allows 3 different types at a time per area. The problem with that is that in vanilla, there are enemies that pop out of place right in front of you because they aren't in the entry for the area you're standing in. In this modded version, this gets worse if you want to add new enemies to a spot. Adding new entries to the GPL that cover the areas you want to doesn't seem to work. So it seems we're missing something, but can't figure out what. Because making changes to the original entries work, but of course forces us to get rid of the original enemies that were there. So, to summarize, Austin needs programmers and people who understand the fundamentals of game code to be able to finish this massive undertaking. If you know people with these skill sets who would be able to help out the project, please put them in contact with Austin through our Discord. And of course, I can help with funding if needed as well. I don't make much from YouTube, but I would be happy to put those earnings towards a project like this. And I know a lot of you out there have been wanting to help as well. To make this work, we need more eyes on the project. So share this with your friends and through Discord for the message to get out there. I know there's a lot of talented people working with DDON that might be able to help as well. Just let us know in the comments if you want to help in any capacity. I just wish Austin and this project all the best. But yeah, I hope you guys have a great Sunday. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.